Hey friends, welcome to today's video. Today we are testing drugstore products. I'm excited. I'm hoping to find some new favorite products in here. So I'm going to share with you guys at the end of this video what worked and what didn't. We will check in my makeup at the end of the day and see how everything performed. I have a ton. And when I say a ton, I mean a ton of goodies here, even some that I can't fit in my hands. Now, a lot of these are new products that I haven't used, and then I did have to pull a couple of favorites from my collection to just kind of fill in the gaps. But let's go ahead and get started. All right, you guys, so to let you know what is on my skin already, I prepped and primed my skin with my moisturizer, and then I did use my Everyday Elastin Hydra Tint Mineralized SPF. So that is all I have on. I don't have any concealer, I don't have any primer. I'm really excited to test this new foundation. I'm pretty certain this is a new foundation. I was at Walgreens the other day, and I walked over to NYX, and it said it was new, but you know how sometimes those new stickers stay up for, I don't know, a little too long. This is the Total Control Pro Drop Foundation. And this piqued my attention because there is another product. What was it? Was it Cover FX? There was another brand that was not drugstore that I really loved. Oh, I remember what it was. It was Number 7. Number 7 has a like customizable drop product that I really loved. So I kind of thought that this might be similar. So let me read you guys a couple of things off of this box. I really don't know much about it. I picked up the shade Medium Olive. It says that it's lasting, lightweight, sheer to medium coverage with a demi-matte finish that looks true to skin. And it has an easy-to-use glass dropper for customizable application. Now, what I remember loving about the Number 7 drops is that they're so customizable. You can add them to foundation, you can add them to moisturizer, you can add them to primer. I remember just like really being able to customize the type of coverage and pigment that you want. Let's see how this works. And I also remember it being really lightweight. All right, so I'm just gonna drop a little bit on the back of my hand. Wow, okay, you guys, this is so thin. It really literally feels and looks to be the consistency of water. It's a little bit thicker, but I'm kind of hesitant to leave my hand like this too long, otherwise it will slide all the way down. Now I'm just gonna try and apply this by itself. Let me show you guys what this looks like on my hand. It's very, very lightweight. Do you see that? I'm just gonna try and apply this by myself. I have a feeling though that this product would be good to add, you know, to foundations to customize your coverage or to create a foundation with moisturizer. Oh, wow, you guys, this is so lightweight. Wow. Okay, let's grab a foundation brush. I'm gonna use my BK Beauty 106, and it literally just blends right into the skin. I'm gonna try and build up to see how much coverage I can get from this by pressing. I will say that I bet if I press too much and I spend too much time on the foundation, it's just going to absorb it all because it's so lightweight, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna kind of get it blended into the skin and then move on. Okay, this is extremely lightweight. It literally feels not much thicker than water. I have a tendency to wanna overblend, but with this product, I'm not going to. All right, so that is what it looks like. So this side has foundation and this side does not. I have quite a bit of shine on my skin already. It is about 2 p.m. in the day, so it's kind of I'm getting a much later start to my day in terms of sitting down and filming. The kids are out of school, so I've been occupied with them all day, and I'm just filming now. So anyway, the reason I'm saying that is because my skin is a little bit more oily than it typically is when I sit down and film in the morning. It looks really dewy and really glowy. Let's go ahead and move on to the other side and see if some of that dewiness subsides, because I definitely need it to set down to a little bit more of a matte finish, or at least a natural finish. Okay, and I'm gonna add a little more coverage on my nose, the center of my face. So this is how the foundation looks. It's been on for just a couple of minutes. I haven't set with powder. I haven't added any concealer. It looks very, very shiny to me. Definitely a high glow. It honestly looks way too shiny. I'm gonna go in and apply concealer. We're gonna see how the foundation looks after it's had even more time to set, and then we'll go in with powder shortly thereafter. So I'm gonna go in with the L'Oreal Full Wear Infallible Concealer. This is one of my favorite drugstore concealers. Really nice coverage, natural finish, not heavily matte finish at all, but also not like a ultra dewy finish. So it stays in place, it's long wearing. A little bit goes a long way, you don't need much. I like to start in the inner corner right here because I have a little bit of a green undertone there. and then bring it down, and then I'll just use a concealer brush to kind of spread this under my eyes. I also like this formula because it is very spreadable, and it doesn't dry too quickly, so you actually have some time to work with it. So the foundation has had plenty of time to set, but it still is way, way too dewy and shiny for my taste. So I'm gonna go and set with a little bit of powder. So I'm gonna go in and lightly set the center of the face with the Revlon blurring powder. I like this powder for a drugstore option because it really does soften and blur pores. And for now, I'm just gonna apply it in the center of my face and my forehead. I am gonna be applying more of a cream product on the cheeks for bronzer and blush, so I don't wanna set too heavily with powder there, but I do wanna get the center of my face set because quite honestly, that shine was just way, way too much. Okay, that looks much better. Much, much better. Nice finish, good coverage, feels extremely lightweight. It feels like I have nothing on my skin. So to bronze the skin, I'm gonna use the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer, and I picked up 2 of these. I picked up the shade Tan Lines, which leans more warm. It kind of looks like a good light to medium tone shade for bronzer. And then I picked up the shade Feeling Shady, which definitely leans a lot cooler tone. It has a lot more gray in it. This is like more of a contour shade. I'm gonna go in with Tan Lines though, because today I wanna actually just bronze the face. I don't wanna really do a lot of contouring. Okay, so the texture of this feels really creamy. It actually feels a little creamier to me than some of e.l.f.'s other putty products. I feel like the putty primer and the putty blush doesn't feel as emollient and creamy as this product does. Those two feel like they have a little bit more of a kind of silicone texture to them. Is that just me? Okay, so I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna use the BK Beauty 107 brush for this, and I'm just gonna kind of press it into the little pot here. And we are going to kind of just, work this into the areas that we would bronze the face by pressing the brush onto the face. The great thing about this brush is it's a good size to just kind of do this technique where you press. You don't really have to sweep much, which is nice because you're not gonna disrupt the foundation that you have underneath it. Okay, that is gorgeous. Yes, I love the way that looks. I love the color. The amount of pigment is perfect. It's not too intense, so it's really easy to work with. That is really beautiful. I'm just gonna kind of run it into my hairline. I'm gonna layer it and build it a little bit more. Okay, that is gorgeous. Are you guys seeing this? That is beautiful. Oh, I love this. This brush is really perfect for this. It's a little big for the hairline. I always make it work, but if you're someone that really wants to keep like the makeup out of your hairline, I would use a smaller brush. But this brush is great for a cream bronzer. Literally, you're just like pressing it onto the skin. So if you have a brush about this size, I'll show you guys the shape and size of the 107. This is what it looks like. It has a crimp on it, so it's a little bit flat at the bottom, but it's got a nice thick full tip to it. And it's the perfect size. It's not a really large powder brush, but it's not too small either. Oh my gosh, that, okay, I love this. I kind of want to put this all over, but I know I shouldn't. I'm gonna run it down here onto my jawline. Okay, that is so beautiful. Yes, e.l.f. I already know that I love this. We will see how it wears throughout the day, but I already know that I love this. Okay, so moving right along, let's talk about blush. I have a couple of blush products to try. And I think I'm really, so I picked up the NYX or NYX Sweet Cheeks tinted blush mousse, and I really want to try this one. I got the shade Nude Tude, and then I also picked up this little powder palette from e.l.f. It has a blush and then it has a highlight shade. I think for fun, I'm gonna use the cheek mousse because this seems like a little bit more of an interesting product to me. So it has a little like lip gloss wand to it, and it's described as being a cheek tint. So that to me means, light and sheer. I'm gonna kind of smile. Okay, maybe I applied too much since I don't know how this product, I like the color. Just gonna I'm gonna use the same brush, the 107, and I'm just gonna kind of press it onto the cheeks. Okay, that's beautiful, you guys. I tend to overdo it with blush, and I think I overdid it this time. So what I'm gonna do, if you ever feel like you overdo it with your blush, grab your foundation brush that you used and just kind of stamp it over the area that you wanna correct or erase with blush. So for me, I got it a little too high, so I'm just gonna kind of run my foundation brush just on the top of that blush. Okay, that is gorgeous. You guys, this is beautiful. So pretty. Okay, I love that. Let's go in and apply the other side. This time I'm gonna do a little bit less, since I applied too much the first time. It's really easy to blend, feels very light, has a good amount of pigment, like more than I expected. Like I said, it's described as being a tint, but I would say this has a lot more color than a tint. And you can kind of adjust it based on how far you blend out. Like I could leave it like this and have a lot more color, or I could go and continue to blend and it'll sheer and look more natural. Okay, that is gorgeous. Do you see how it gives a little bit of glow without a like frosty or overly shimmery effect? Okay, that is gorgeous. I am kind of loving this skin situation. Okay, I'm kind of loving it. I will say the foundation is a little too shiny. I have a suspicion that it's gonna just get worse and worse throughout the day. Like I wanna kind of go and already powder a little bit more, so that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna lightly powder over the cream products we use. I'm actually gonna switch brushes and we're gonna use the BK Beauty 103, which is basically like a larger version of the 107, which we just used. So I'm gonna lightly press it on the cream products. I don't wanna press too much powder because I don't wanna, you know, take away from that color or pigment, but I do wanna control the shine. So for brows, I'm gonna use a new product by NYX. It is the Fill and Fluff Brow Pomade Pencil. Why can't I say that? I'm a fan of NYX's eyebrow pencils. I like the one that is a real fine micro tip, and then I also like the one, I think it's called the Precision Brow Pencil, that has more of a triangular tip to it. And actually I would describe that as being more of a pomade pencil. So we'll see how this one differs. So it has this fluffy brush on the end, which when I think about the Precision Brow Pencil, it has more of a spoolie on the end. So this is gonna give the brows more of a softer, fluffier look. And the tip of this actually looks a lot like the Precision Brow Pencil. It's shaped about the same, the size is about the same. I picked up the shade Taupe, which is a shade that I wear in that pencil. I'm gonna go ahead and brush the brows in place. Ooh, lots of color, very rich in pigment, very creamy formula. You don't have to press hard. I'm actually using very, very light application and pressure because I wasn't sure how it was gonna pay off. So with the light hand, I'm getting a lot of pigment payoff. So the pencil tip is thicker, so you can't really get really fine hair-like strokes. You can if you use just the tip right here in the front of the brow, but you have to be careful. Like even right there, I got it a little too thick. This feels creamier than the Precision Brow Pencil. I think that's the name. If it's not the name and I'm getting it wrong this entire time, I'll have it on the screen. Of course, I'll have the products listed in the description box, but it's a brow pencil by NYX that I was wearing all the time before I discovered the Charlotte Tilbury one that I've been using more recently. This definitely feels creamier. If you put a little more pressure, I can feel how it'll put the brows in place and kind of lay them down. I think for someone like me though, that doesn't have much hair in the front of the brow, you have to be careful because you can't really create real thin like strokes with this. So it's gonna look a little bit more harsh, I should say. So you just have to be really, really careful. This might be one of those products that I use like on 80% of my brow, and then right there in the inner part, I use a pencil that has a little bit more control. But I do like that. And I think the color is perfect. Again, that color is taupe. So for eyes, super excited about eyes. I've got some e.l.f. products here. I picked up these little shadow sticks and I have been playing with them for the last week or so, and I really love these. These came in a little gift set. I think it was $20 for all 4 of them, and they're all really neutral shades. I'm gonna be using a light one on my lid, and then I'm gonna use one darker underneath my lower lash line. And I'm gonna go in and play with these little bite-sized eyeshadow palettes from e.l.f. I already know that I like this product because I owned this one. This is Cream and Sugar. I owned this one and I just couldn't find it, so I reordered it. But I also picked up this shade. This is the Orange Dreamsicle. Both really neutral, warm neutrals, really peachy shades. So we're just gonna kind of play with different products and see what we like. So for my lid, I'm gonna go in with one of these shadow sticks from e.l.f. And I can't tell you how much of a fan I am of shadow sticks. They are just such an easy product to use on the eye. They're quick, they're long wearing typically. They look great for like a shimmery look, especially on more textured eye. I'm gonna go in on my lid with this one from e.l.f. It's the shade Champagne Crystal. And I'm just gonna kind of run it on my lower, like near my lashes, right there where my lash line is, and kind of bring it up into the crease. And I'm gonna blend it out with my finger. This is gonna kind of work like an eye primer for me. Now I'm gonna do one eye at a time because this formula is quicker to dry than like say an actual eye primer. I don't want to do both eyes and then this one dry before I have time to lay shadow on it. So I'm just going to run that on my lid. Totally unnecessary to add shadow on top of it, but for the sake of trying new products in this video, I am going to add product on top of it. So I'm going to go in with this little bite-sized e.l.f. palette, and I'm going to pick up the shade, this shade here. It's the lightest shade in the palette. I'm actually just going to use my ring finger, and we're going to pack that onto the lid. It's pretty much the same color as that shadow stick, but obviously much more intense. Look at how rich that is. And I'm just gonna kind of blend that all over the lid. Okay, that is gorgeous. All right, so we're gonna go and do the same thing on the other side. So these shadow sticks, let me talk to you about the formula of them. Some of them I like more than others. This one is more sheer. So if you want like it to be really opaque, you have to really, really layer it. This is a couple of layers, and as you can see, it's pretty sheer. It's also one of the more glittery of the four. Some of them are more glittery, while some of them are more like a nice refined shimmer. Next, I'm gonna go in with this orangey shade right here, and we're gonna work that into the crease. So this has a good amount of pigment. It's blending really easily into the crease. It's consistent, meaning it's not patchy. You can build it, so when I first went in with my brush, I got a little lighter, but then I can layer it and get more pigment. And the shade is a nice like sherbet coral color. It's not really, really orangey, but it's definitely peachy. I say that because you can work it into more bronze or neutral looks without it being too colorful. But if you want to layer and build it, you can definitely get more of like a peachy vibe from it. Ooh, that's pretty. Really pretty with green or blue eyes. Anything with orange in it is really gonna make blue or green eyes pop and look more green or more blue. Yeah, I like that. Really good quality of a powder shadow, you guys. So pretty. That's nice. Okay, next we're gonna go in and I'm gonna add a little bit of the orangey shimmery shade from the palette, and we're just gonna use my finger, and I'm gonna pack that on the lid, but the outer half of the lid. So not necessarily the outer corner, but just on the outer half. That is just gonna help blend this orangey matte shade with you know, that bright champagne shade we have on the lid. Subtle difference, but it makes a difference. And I like that you can use your fingers with these. They're really easy to pop on with your finger. So I want to add some depth in the outer corner, but I don't really have a shade in these two that like is a nice stair step from what I have in my crease to the darkest shade. So I'm just going to go in with the darkest shade. I'm going to use the tiny little blending brush from the Angie Hot and Flashy and BK Beauty collaboration. It's the A504. It's a nice, let me show you guys the size and shape of this. It's a really nice size crease brush if you want precision. Very small, but it still has a nice round fluffy tip, so you can get a pretty blend. And I'm gonna softly dip this into that dark, rich, matte brown shade. And we are just gonna go and kind of place it right here in the outer corner, blend in little bitty circles and work our way into that outer corner. I wanna almost create like a little V shape. And what I don't wanna do is I don't wanna take the dark shade too far over. I really wanna keep it concentrated right here to this outer corner. So you gotta just take your time, and you're basically keeping your brush in the same area of the face, of the eye, but you're just moving it in little circles. So it's not really moving too far over, it's really staying in the same little area, but you're moving in little circles. You gotta take your time too. Once you're confident that you have most of the product off the brush, then you can kind of just work it over to soften that edge so you don't have any harsh edges. Okay. So now that the foundation's been on for a few minutes, I'm kind of observing it. It's really beautiful, you guys, really beautiful. But I definitely am curious to see how it stands up throughout the day because it went on and was very shiny at first. Pretty. Okay, I love that. All right, next I'm gonna go in with my 202 brush, and I didn't add anything to it. I'm simply just using the shape of this brush to softly diffuse that edge. This shade, even though it's really dark and matte, which can be harder to blend out, it's blending out really nice. Next, I'm gonna go in with the lightest shimmery shade from the orangier palette, more orangey palette. And I'm gonna take a fluffy brush, and I'm gonna use this to highlight the brow bone. I'm just picking up really soft because I don't want too much frost under the brow. I just want a very light sheen. So I wanna make sure I use a big fluffy brush and I have a very soft application. So I'm gonna go in and line the lower lash line with the e.l.f. shadow stick in the shade Bronze Metal. I have been using this the last week or so, and I love the tone of this. It's so pretty, and it's a really beautiful shade for the lower lash line because it's bronzy and shimmer, so it's gonna give a little bit of, you know, it's gonna give you a deep enough definition, but that shimmer is very soft, so it keeps the lower lash line on the eye very soft. And I'm gonna take that same A504 brush, and we're just gonna take the tip of it and dip it into the darkest shadow here. And I'm gonna tap it off because I don't want too much. I just want a little bit. I just wanna set that shadow stick, and really, especially on the outer corner here, I want it to be a little bit darker. Next, I'm gonna take the shadow stick in Perfect Pearl. This is from e.l.f. And it is very, very light and bright and has a shimmer to it, but it's not glittery. Let me show you guys what that looks like. So I'm gonna put that just in the inner corner of my eye. I'm just gonna pop it just a little bit because it's very, very intense. So I don't want it to be too much. And I'm just gonna use my fingers, my pinky finger, to kind of blend that out a little bit. The warmth from your skin and your finger will really help kind of make that product meld into the skin beautifully. So for lips, I'm so excited to share this product with you guys. I've been using this for a few weeks, and I was just really, really excited to incorporate this into a video. This is the Wet n Wild Cloud Pout Marshmallow Lip Mousse. This is a new product, I believe. They sent me the whole collection in PR a few weeks ago, and I kept like some of the more neutral shades or the peachy pinks, the shades that I lean towards, and then I took like half of them to the office to share them with the ladies there. I love this formula, you guys. It is a very soft, like feathery, diffused lip look. You can build it to get more pigment, but you can also keep it very light and natural. It feels like a pillow on the lips. It smells like dessert. It has a very, very strong marshmallow scent. So I know some of you guys aren't into strong scents in your makeup products. Personally, I love it in a lip product. They feel so comfortable. They're not really glossy, but they're not matte either. They're this just like kind of whipped velvety texture and finish. I wear them without a lip liner, and I find that they stay in place really, really well. The spoolie has a nice like tip to the end of it. You can see that you can lay that and rest that right on the lip, or you can use the tip of that to create a more defined lip line look. This is the shade Marsh to my Mallow, and I really like it. There's another shade, it's in my purse, the shade that I've been wearing all the time. It's kind of like a good, true peachy pink. They feel so good. Like, I can't describe it. Very lightweight, not sticky at all, but not matte, and not creamy either. It's a very, very interesting texture. It just feels so nice on the lips. And I do feel like they're hydrating to the lips. There's sometimes I'll put lip products on and then a few hours later my lips feel really dry. Not the case with these. They actually feel hydrated, and they give a really full look to the lips because they have this velvety, like diffused finish and look. So it kind of blurs texture or lines in the lips. So pretty. Like, I would love to see this formula, something similar to this formula, in a blush. So this is the finished look. So far, I really liked everything. I think the true test is going to be at the end of the day when we see how these products performed. The only product that I'm kind of on the fence about, and I'm suspecting it's not going to work out for me, is the NYX Total Control Pro foundation drops. I just have a feeling that they're going to get too shiny or oily throughout the day, but I may be wrong. Let's hope that I'm wrong. So far, the two really standout products to me, aside from the Wet n Wild lip gloss that I already told you guys that I loved, the two standout products that I tested and tried, but I have no idea how they wear throughout the day, are the NYX Sweet Cheeks Tinted Blush Mousse and the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer. These two like knocked my socks off when I immediately applied them on the skin. But it's 2:45. I will check in with you guys at the end of the day, and we will see how everything is wearing. Hey everyone, I wanted to do a really quick check-in. It's about 6 p.m. And I haven't touched up anything yet. So it has been a little over 3 hours, 3.5 hours or so. Definitely the foundation needs a touch up. It's very, very shiny. Everything else looks great though. The eye makeup looks really nice. The lip product is still in place. I've snacked a little bit, but I haven't had a full meal. So at this point, I am thinking that the foundation is definitely a no for me. Yeah. I mean, this is really, really shiny for me at the 3-hour mark. I am gonna go ahead and touch up, and I will check in with you guys in a couple of hours. So it's almost 9 p.m. It's time for my final thoughts. I don't think it's much of a surprise that I'm not a huge fan of the foundation. I just find it to be way too shiny. It looks greasy on me. It didn't look flattering. I was able to mattify it quite a bit with powder and have it look nice initially, but that wore off pretty quickly within about an hour and a half half or so, I felt like my face was super shiny and greasy. I only touched up with powder once, and I think that was around the 3-hour mark, just before this clip, and it was able to mattify it quickly, but shortly after that, the shine started to come through. So it's definitely not a foundation that I will personally go to, although it is a product that I think is customizable. I think that you can add this into a moisturizer. I think you could add it into another foundation. Obviously, the final results are gonna be much, much different, but if you're wearing it as a foundation alone, not so much a fan for me. The pros are that it's lightweight and it blends out super quick and easy. The cons, of course, are how shiny it is. As far as other products that I was a little disappointed with, surprisingly, the eye makeup, particularly on this eye, I don't know if you can see, hopefully we can zoom in and show you guys, there is some creasing, right? Where the fold of my eye goes, you will see some creasing. Now, I don't necessarily think that I wanna give a bad review to either the eyeshadow palettes or the e.l.f. shadow sticks. I really like these both, and I've worn them separately, and I think they give great results. I think combining the two is just too much. This is a pretty great product on its own. I think when you go and you add a layer of shadow, it's just too much. This is much thicker than an eyeshadow primer, so there's really no need to add anything on top of it, and it gets color. Together, I don't like these two. I think separately they work really well on their own. Let's take a look. The lip product. So I actually just reapplied my lip product, and I initially, earlier in the video, we used the shade Marsh to my Mallow. It was a bit more of a brick kind of rust color. And then I went downstairs and I grabbed this one from my purse. This is the shade that I love and I've been wearing for the last week or so. It is the Girl You're Whipped shade. And I love this color. It's just a really pretty nice mid-tone peachy pink. I've been wearing this a ton, so this definitely is a new favorite find of mine. Again, the one thing to remember is it has a very, very strong, sweet, marshmallowy scent, so that's not for everybody. So I have a couple of other really standout products from this video. Let's start first with the bronzer. This e.l.f. Putty Bronzer, you guys, so beautiful. The formula is really nice. It's creamy, it's hydrating. The color pigment payoff is perfect. It's not too much, but you don't have to layer and layer and layer to get some. It's really, really beautiful. As far as longevity and wearability, it still looks pretty good. I think it looks a little patchy here, but I also think that that is partly the result of the foundation. I definitely am gonna be continuing to wear this product. I'm gonna test it with some of my other favorite foundations, but my first impression of this product today is it's very impressive. It's beautiful, the formula is nice, and the color is just perfect. It's just that perfect bronze. Really love that. The really standout product to me though in this video is gonna be the NYX Sweet Cheeks Soft Cheek Tint Blush Mousse. You guys, everything about this product I love. I love the texture and the formula of it. I love the amount of pigment that you get, and I love, love the shade of this. This is the shade Nude Tude, and it is literally the most perfect, like rosy, neutral, nude blush shade. It's not too pink, it's not too peach. It doesn't really have a lot of either of those in there, but it's not like a real warm bronze either. It's just like this gorgeous rosy brownish pink. It's so beautiful. It blends out so easily on the skin. It gives the skin a really nice, subtle, natural looking glow. So if you have dry skin, this is going to be your best friend. Seriously, I highly recommend this to anybody that is like light to medium to tan skin tones. I am definitely gonna pick this up in other shades because I want to try it in other shades. I'm really, really impressed with this formula. And also super impressed with this brow product from NYX, the Fill and Fluff Eyebrow Pencil. Really like it. How it differs from I believe it's called the Precision Brow Pencil. Again, I'll have it all listed and linked down below, but I loved that pencil too. They look similar in terms of like the tip, the size, and the product. They look similar. The main difference is the brush. The brush on the Precision Brow is more of like a mascara wand spoolie, where this is more of that fluffy brush head. So you're gonna get a much softer, fluffier, diffused looking brow if you use this after you apply the product, but also the formula is different. I find this to be creamier. I find the Precision Brow Pencil to be a little drier. I still like that. Not that it's too dry or a bad thing, but this is definitely creamier. So your pressure that you want to apply this with is a much lighter hand. Lots of pigment. I feel like this is a richer in terms of creamy and pigment formula than the Precision Brow, and it has stayed on the brows looking really nicely. It hasn't really moved or budged. Yeah, the foundation is a no-go for me. I'm not a fan of this foundation. Has anyone tried this foundation? What are your thoughts on it? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Do you agree with me? If you disagree with me, how did you get it to work with you for you? I would love to hear that in the comments down below. I think that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to hear what favorite products you are using from the drugstore. Let me know some of your new discoveries. I love to kind of learn from you guys and see what you are loving so that it gives me recommendations for products to go and pick up for myself. Thank you for watching. As always, I hope you guys have a beautiful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.